don't feel like they're physically able to, you're not going to let them. And
well, no, it's not. And when we get on this subject, it's not necessarily that. It's more on they let women do it. They let women test out and try to become part of whatever unit and whatnot. And only a select few actually pass.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, it's a generalization on my part from what I was saying, but you always have exceptions to the rule. And the only people that have crossed and passed those standards have been the exceptions. And then when you have a need for equal opportunity, why is it, the argument would be, why is it only those specific few get to pass? It should be, we should have rules that say, I don't know how to articulate it, more along the sense of, we should have people lower the standards so we could have more women is a general sense of what I'm trying to say. And that's exactly kind of what happens, why you have more women in infantry. So that's what I mean. So when I say you lower these standards because physically they can't do something,
mm-hmm.
you're lowering the entire infantry standards. And when do we stop? When do we cross that line on what we say? Like I said, I want equal rights and equal opportunity for everybody, but you need to keep that same energy and flatline it across the board without changing those statistics, because even some men can't even perform and do those things. And nobody's saying, oh, why is it we only have these elite men and not these wimps? Like, we should open it up and lower the standards because we need more personnel. You get what I'm saying? And that's only in that instance. Granted, I probably don't even know what the hell I'm talking about.
No, I don't think so.
But,
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But
no, I just think
you make a valid argument.
I think it's better to have that discussion with someone who was probably a guy who was in infantry and felt the same way you did. Like, I really don't feel like we should lower standards just so a woman can be in here. And maybe that woman went in there and was freaking badass and took shit more seriously than other people who were in there. Do you understand what I mean?
No,
like,
you're absolutely right.
So
I know a ton of badass chicks in the Marine Corps who are way better than 90% of the men that I knew in the Marine Corps.
Why? So, because they had to fight harder to get in there, and these men get complacent.
Yeah,
so
no, you're
boom,
absolutely
there's
right.
that.
I'm not arguing that at all. But yeah, so we're coming up on an hour on here. So just to wrap it up, what are some of the things that you find worth noting that have, like we started off with the podcast, women are allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia now. What other things in our community have you seen that people are more equality has been drawn across the board and people are kind of hopping more on it, like the people, like women in Congress, if you can think of any off the top of your head. I think
just overall, just women trying out for jobs where you don't usually see women, like construction is huge. And I'm not just saying, like, people are probably wondering why I should keep going back to construction, but I've read this article and they were just saying, like, there's women who are afraid to apply for those types of jobs because of it's a male dominated field, but it's things that they're passionate about. Why shouldn't a woman know how to build something because they expect the man? It's that joke where people say, as the man, oh, you're a woman, but if you can't cook and clean, like, I ain't about to make you my wife. And it's like, well, you gonna build me a house type of thing. Like, I'll cook my own food and I'll build my own house, right? Because I learned how to do it because I had the opportunity to do so.
Right.
So it's like just women being able to get into jobs where it's male dominated, obviously in a political sense. I think as minorities in the political, it just makes these women who have always been helping out in their communities but are not getting highlighted now. Does that make sense?
Right. That they've been there and now the barriers are being broken down so much that they are now being highlighted.
Like, there's women who have been in the government running things that we don't even know about, right. In that sense, because anyways, just having this, like, this time in 2019 now, we're just seeing it more and more, and it's not it's not like small things like only fashion and hair and makeup. I mean, there's plenty of fashion, hair, and makeup artists who are doing that and then using the money to help communities as well as women, you know?
Right.
So I guess
so
that's just
job equality.
I think job equality is a huge thing, because that leads to everything else. Because once you're a woman in a higher position, whether it's job wise or famous for whatever you did, hopefully you got there for a good reason, right?
Not like Kim Kardashian.
Stop. But I mean, in the sense that once your voice is being heard, and you just have like Ocasio-Cortez, just the fact that she's up there now, I'm sure she has women who are hating on her and women who are looking up to her, and she's also has little girls that are like, what? I know who she is.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and now more people are gonna just do that because it's just a normal girl just trying to make a change. Mm-hmm. And she's getting, whether all publicity is good, and she knows that.
Right.
So
right.
It's just being.
She gets a lot of hate, but the one interview I did see, it was just a clip. I think you tagged me in it, and it was her saying, you know, just because my ideas are radical, I'm trying to make a change.
Mm-hmm. Just bringing it up.
What are you doing? Are you doing anything? No? Okay, I'm the boss then.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me what to do when you're not going to be proactive to do anything either. And that alone is just probably the most, it spoke the loudest of volumes for what she said, because a lot of people have a lot of opinions. I mean, that's especially on social media, that's all we see is everybody's opinion. But who's actually doing the groundwork and actually trying to make things better, regardless of how you think things work or not? Mm-hmm. You know, that whole argument that I can't stand is that's not how government works. It's like, well, if it's a good idea, you think we should change the idea or change how government works? Because if that's not how government works, then there's a problem if that idea is going to benefit everybody overall. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's just for her, but that's just with anything.
Yeah. And just having some people comfortable with only men making decisions, like even about the reproductive system. That part isn't like, why would you want a man making a decision about your body? That just, I don't know.
A lot of that it ties into religion. That's a conversation for another day, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, definitely, I get the sentiment behind that. Well, any good things you want to note to just anybody listen out there as far as women go? And
I don't know. I'm not too sure what to say. I guess like I just think that just having women just expose yourself in a positive light. You know, if you're doing something, even if you don't think it's important, just put it out there. You know, like we have our grandmothers and mothers, and we always thank them, especially during Women's History Month and things like that. And there might be some women who don't have a mom or grandmother to thank yourself. Like if you're out there and you're inspiring someone to just do whatever the heck it is they want to do, thank you. You know, I, for one, especially when I'm feeling down, I follow so many like influencers, especially on social media, influencers and just women who have an opinion, because you might be feeling down that day, and just to see like, oh, you know what, she's getting through this. Especially victims of any type, verbal abuse, domestic abuse, just the fact that they're speaking out, it's like, you're gonna get through that. This is a dark day, but you're gonna get through that, and there's someone out there who's creating that path for you. So just make it known. If you have a story to tell, if you've created something, just make it known and put yourself in the limelight, because other women need to know so that they too can stand up and influence their daughters and influence their little boys to stand up for their sisters and mothers.
Yeah, well said. Well, just like you, those are very inspirational words coming from a woman. I'm glad you came on the podcast and helped me explain some of those things. But just like you said, get out there, share it, put yourself in the limelight. If there's any women out there that are listening to this right now and they want to inspire another woman or their sons or daughters or whoever is they can influence, give me a shout out. Write me an email at limelighthhighlight@gmail.com. Meet me on Facebook, Instagram, Limelight Highlight, and we can help share your story. other than that, I hope you guys got some good
Definitely send an email. I hear about them too, so I'm down to read it.
Yes, Arlene will periodically tune into the podcast to
not
help.
Periodically.
Sometimes she'll do it randomly if I ask her. If I beg her enough, she'll definitely come. So if you guys enjoyed this podcast, give it a like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family, leave a review, leave me a rating on iTunes or whatever platform you're streaming this on so it can get out there better. Until then, be humble, be helpful, pay it forward, and be the best you. This is the Limelight Highlight Podcast. Thanks for rocking with us. Peace.